You know, Adam, when you look at the aviation sector and some of the challenges facing that particular sector, apart from the fact that there are moves to close the airport, there are also issues of service by the airline, the service providers within the airport, and of course the airline operators. Of course, the issue of the stranded passengers who were supposed to go to Turkey, Turkey. Well, is one area that, of course, is luggage handling. A lot of issues around the aviation sector that needs to be handled. Well, that special report you saw is to set the tone for our discussion this morning, and we're looking at the closure of the ABUJA airport, the controversy, and of course the options. Well, in spite of the federal government explanation on the need to close the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, ABUJA, for 6 weeks to repair the runway, there appears to be growing opposition to the plan.
Certainly, Sally, that is why the federal government convened a consultative meeting last week Thursday, comprising representatives of the security agencies, foreign embassies, airline operators, legislators, the governments of Kaduna, Kwara, and Niger states, as well as other interested parties.
Well, during the meeting where representatives of foreign embassies expressed their concerns, the airline operators clearly opposed the closure.
Well, the airline operators say the repairs of the runway should be carried out at night, like we earlier told you, without necessarily shutting down the airport for 6 weeks.
Well, they argued that the Kaduna airport might not be ready to carry the volume of traffic that hits Abuja on a daily basis.
The operators likened their suggestion for the night option to what happened, like we discussed when we started the show, the Gatwick airport, which handles 400,000 passengers annually.
It was also suggested that the alternative is to divide the 3,900 meters runway into two and fix one side for 3 or 4 weeks and later the other side.
According to them, when the 3,900 meter runway is divided into two, that is roughly 2,000 meters, which can comfortably take a 737 aircraft for 1 hour flight, as well as a DRG-8 and domestic carrier, while international flights can go to Lagos and Kano.
We will be discussing the challenges of closing the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, and of course our guests are in our Lagos studio, and they're joining us to discuss this issue.
Yes, we have our guest aviation analyst Taiwo Adeniko, and also aviation analyst Captain Bolaho Olushola. It's good to have you both on the show. Welcome. So let's begin with you, Taiwo. What do you make of the closure? Well, the proposed closure so far.
What I'm looking at the economic effect it will have on the economy generally. Can we look at the situation where, as far as I'm concerned, the Abuja airport, the Abuja city is shut down for 6 weeks. That's what it means. Economic activities, hotels, restaurants, they're all shut down. As I speak with you, foreign embassies are already making efforts to readjust their program to cover those 6 weeks so that nothing happens. Nobody is ready to allow his human capital to take the risk of going to Kaduna than Abuja. No, they rather have them off during that week or during that period and nothing. But look at the closure itself. I would just want to take an example of a country called Maldives. It's a very small country, 350,000 people, one single airport, and it is on a reclaimed land on the ocean. They can't afford, because they take 60,000 tourists every month. They can't afford to close it down. Modern technology allows you to do this 3,900 meters batch by batch, and you shut down at about 12 midnight to 6 a.m. Do A, do B, do C, do D. Start from the upper end. We should look at other options. Shut down is shutting down the economy of Abuja, meetings, school children. Don't forget March is also the month for the Lent. So there are so many things that multiply effects of this shutdown. It's not only about the operations of the airline. Of course, the foreign airlines told you they shut down their system. You cannot get a seat out of Abuja because they have been blocked. So you can only get out of Lagos. So those are the things we are looking at. It's going to have a lot of multiplier effect, a lot. Senator Saraki will not be able to go to Ilorin. every weekend again because there is no flight. So we are looking at so many things, and we just hope they should look at option B. That option is okay, but is that the best? What is the input of the Nigerian civil engineers, Nigerian Society of Engineers into it? How about the military engineers? There should be another option other than outright closure. This is my position on it. The economic impact is tremendous, is voluminous, is large, is very, very large. Well, it might be good for Kaduna, it might be good for Ilorin, all of those. But what we are looking at, Abuja city itself will be shut down for those 6 weeks because of proximity. Then I'm also looking at the security aspect of it. What happens to the commander-in-chief in case of medical evacuation, in case of security evacuation, in case of any evacuation? Are you saying no visiting head of state will come into this country for those 6 weeks? We are looking at so many things there, and we want to be very, very careful in taking this kind of decision.
We do know that a lot of people would argue and say, well, the bourgeoisies and the elites might not necessarily be affected, particularly those who have private jets to jet out as well, from their own private runway. And you would also want to argue how effectively thought out this plan was before it was run through. I mean, if the consultative forum is just bringing together ambassadors and senators and, of course, industries to look at this at the time where we have barely some weeks in to go, do you think this is not a fire brigade method? And what, again, is the security risk, aside from the longevity of the time when the airport will be closed? What are the major security risks? And I'm talking to Captain Bola on this one.
At the end of the day, you are closing a major airport, the capital city of Abuja, where the sitting president and other stakeholders, aviation people, the industry decided that is the seat of power to the global place that combines to the world, the network from Nigeria to the world. It is not, there's no plan in that sense, because security-wise, you have the road is dilapidated from Kaduna. Even Niger would have been the best option. The road is not good. There's no good rail system to move people from the neighboring state to Abuja. So why not plan early from the future where, within Abuja, you could have, over the years, build alternative airport. And we're talking about March. Something can still be done, because it is not that the old airport is bad. It is just, we're just talking about the runway. You can, within that 6 weeks before March, you can put alternative landing strip around that same airport because the stress on people security-wise and all that, looking at the road, the abductors and all that, the security agent cannot cope with all that, because it's a large volume of people moving from all over the world into Abuja, all over Nigeria into Abuja. Abuja is the hub, and most of this complaint from the operators, the embassy, it is not done anywhere in the world where you just overnight and you decide. That means what was the future, what was the plan in the past 15, 20 years when our president were building their airport? Did you ever think there's going to be growth? Did you ever think you were going to plan? There was no planning at all. So security-wise, I don't see why all of a sudden we can't blame the present government. It is something that's decayed from over the years. We should have been, even if you go to the blueprint, I'm sure that airport blueprint, I'm sure there must be an alternative airport, just like what we have in Lagos. We have the one island, we have the one island. Should in case you close one, then there's option to use the second one while you are repairing the other one. So, and in most airports around the world, they have cross runway alternative, so that even if it's the major airport, you can use the alternative one within that same vicinity. Because we have the president, the vice president, the ministers, everybody in Abuja, and the business people. So the aviators people, the operators, and the business people, their own stake is like they're going to lose a lot of money. The children, like my colleague just said, all those factors put together as the economic value of this country. When we're talking about the recession, that is going to put a lot of backset for our country. I think alternatives should be looked into.
What you have said.
Otherwise, even if you use Kaduna.
You are suggesting, Captain Bona, that the government should create an alternative landing strip. What is that supposed to mean? Just give us an insight to what you mean by an alternative landing strip, because we do know that there were proposals in 2010 by the former President Goodluck Jonathan administration to construct a second runway, and that was not possible because of what was referred as the contract scam, because the contract was put at 64 billion naira at the time, and it was later reviewed downwards to about 13 billion naira. And because of that very huge difference, that contract was put off. So when you say an alternative landing strip, what does that mean? Does it mean a second runway which does not exist at the airport?
You just said it now yourself, that overinflation of bill at that time, because like I said, over the years there must be a plan. There was a plan, and if you remember the saga during Stella Odua, who is currently sitting in that Senate, I mean, they caused all that because there was a plan that was fortunate maybe 20 years back or 30 years back when Abuja was stated. So it was around that 2010 they ought to have build that airport, the second airport. But because of our people, all their interests is all money, corruption. That is why that was derailed. Because at the end of the day, that money that was put up at that time was queried, that it wasn't even 1/10 of that should have been used to build that airport. But what I'm talking about, the alternative is to still look, because the current runway is dilapidated. For some reason, the aviation expert, the minister, no, it is complete from pilots, and the user probably said, well, it is time to repair the runway. But instead of closing completely, along the side, you can, it's just Arafat and all those Absat and concrete. You can just build a second airport around that place while you instead of closing completely that airport, instead of that you can just build a second one while the other one is still being maintained until because 6 weeks is a long period of time, and within that 6 weeks, I'm telling you, you can just put a landing strip, a landing airport by the side of that particular, or a cross runway. That could be done. That to save all this security implication, the stress, and the economy derail completely from our nation. That's what I mean about it.
Okay. Well, proposing that the government builds or constructs a second landing strip, it does seem very simplistic, doesn't it? Because when you look at the engineering design that may go into the construction work, how feasible, this question is to Taiwo, how feasible do you think it will be for the federal government to begin to consider building a second or an alternative landing strip within the shortest possible time before the set date to close the airport on March 8th? Is it possible?
My option is feasible. If you take time to Google runway rehabilitation, runway reconstruction, you will find out that the modern technology is to do it batch by batch. When you walk between 12 midnight and 6 a.m., the following day from 6:30 a.m., the airlines are just flying all the way on the same runway. That is my own option, and then it is not something hidden. If you Google it today, you will see the set that it's like a mode. They will take it to the sections that are really bad, excavate it, all within 5 hours, and then put in the mold, put in the concrete, put in the bitumen, and it goes. It's done all over. The Germans have the experience, the Chinese have the experience. It is done. You don't have to, I have never heard of it. A whole Well, we're looking at ABUJA International Airport, which is our flagship airport, and you're shutting it down for 6 weeks. I'm sorry, there are alternatives. Have they been looked at the alternatives? What about our military engineers? How about our professors of civil engineering? Can they not find an alternative that is even indigenous to Nigeria? This, I believe it is doable, and the airlines will come in and go out without stress. Without stress. It would save us a lot of embarrassment, save a lot of costs. And I'm telling you, as I speak with you, a lot of people are readjusting their plan. They're not ready to risk their life to go to Kaduna. Do you know if you want to go to Uyo, you have to fly to Kaduna? If you are coming from Uyo, you have to fly to Kaduna. It's not done anywhere. We can do it. The engineers can do it. They can redesign, reposition, and do this thing within that 6 weeks without shutting down. This is my position. Doing a brand new runway might not be totally feasible side by side. There's a controversial second runway, which is still controversial as of yesterday. So, but I believe we can do batch by batch to get to where we want to get to.
All right, we have seen this conversation on refurbishment and repair of the runway since 2010, years ago. It was mooted in 2010. Money to the tune of 120 billion naira was allocated to airline operators so as to, act as a buffer, but nobody knows what happened to the money. Last October, United Emirates stopped flying the runway, saying that it was in deplorable state, and so also has South African Airways stopped landing due to damage to its aircraft because of the bad state of the runway. Now, some international organizations have called us a nation of, fire brigade method and emergency exit. Do you think that there shouldn't be first an investigation on the monies allocated before time in the past Ministry of Aviation to look at the repairs of the airport, including the runway? Remember that the conversation, even Captain raised it, was to turn the ABUJA airport into a fulcrum of tourism where people would come in and, it would be a standing state for every connoisseur of politics and organization and even tourism across the world. But those monies are yet, to be appropriated. Those monies are yet to be defended. There has not been any transparent review of the monies allocated during the Stella Odua's ministry. And you have said she is sitting right there, sit tight in the Senate. Isn't it time to call for investigation on the funds before we even begin another conversation on reviewing the runway? And I also say this because, again, you would continue to see this conversation and it might not really take 6 weeks to fix that runway. So, are you sure there is a real sense of political will in this adventure, or is it another brouhaha?
I think you are very right to a very large extent, but I also believe this one can do pari passu. There is what we call ACAO, an international civil aviation organization that controls most of these things, and they are aware that the runway has expired. They are aware of that, and they are just waiting for what government will do. So while investigation goes on with either Stella or Motoba, all those ministers, where this can go alongside the repair, the rehabilitation of the existing, the economy was not shown. Don't forget, the window to any economic development in any country is aviation. Remain the safest, the most secured, the most regulated, and the fastest. That's the way for the economy to grow, and we must give it its due priority. That's what we're looking at. I agree entirely with you. We must know where we're coming from. What happened to all those money that were appropriated? What happens to them? Why have they not been? Well, when are we going to stop all this? When will our ministers, when will our civil servants have enough conscience to move this country forward? After how many years? That same runway has expired 14 years ago. What happened to all those money? I agree with you. Investigation should be done about that. But then, our civil engineers, military engineers, Ministry of Works, they should come together and find a home-based, indigenous solution to what we are looking at. It is doable. You don't have to shut it down. No, you don't have to. There are ways that it can be done. All over the world, it is there. It is there. There are countries, they should go to Singapore and see how it is being done. They will Google it. They don't need to travel out. This is what we are saying. That money that that was misappropriated must be investigated. I agree with you. People should go to jail before it, because this is a national thing. They should just go spend the rest of their lives in jail, because we know the money went somewhere. It is not in the nation's purse. Either the contract was awarded, was not awarded. We were aware 2010, 2011 thereabout that JB mobilized. What happened after that? Everybody is aware. It's not hidden. You are aware of it. So what happens? So when we look at our National Assembly and we say, okay, I'm doing oversight function, how many sessions of the National Assembly have done oversight function, and they will not take this out? Now they want to say, no, stop what you want to do. We should just share this blame. They've been doing this oversight function. They could not function that particular one because their members are involved. Let us just be serious in this country for one day. Let us move the economy forward, and let us just be fair to ourselves. This is not fair on part of government to shut that place down. A lot of business will go with it. A lot of fatalities will come. Who wants to I can't go to Abuja those 6 weeks because I can't risk my life on Kaduna Road. I can't. It's not doable. How about the airlines? They've been losing so much money. You move in for...
All right, let's get the view of Captain Bola. I remember that, when East Midland Airport was going to announce the refurbishment of its runway last year. It started in January, and this refurbishment was meant to take place in November and December consecutively. And, some of the conversations had, the locals, the businessmen, the economists, research consultants, a lot of conversation went into it. And at the end of the day, there was a communique released that, for the sake of the economy, that the airports will be closed 48 hours every weekend, because refurbishment was supposed to go on for 7 weeks consecutively. So 48 hours from 2000 hours on Saturday to 2000 hours on Sunday, except in the final days of the refurbishment when it will be closed for just a little more over 50 hours, and work resumes on Monday and they can continue to use the runway. Instead of having an alternative route, perhaps from Lagos or Niger, or having a speedy repair of the roads with the pothole, isn't it also to look at the timing factor, where perhaps in the morning the airlines are supposedly allowed to fly for a certain number of times in the day, and in the evening the refurbishment of the runway can commence to a certain time in the evening as well? Isn't that a better alternative? Do you think the federal government is willing to look at that angle, especially in the loss of investment?
Okay, I want to say at this point in time that bad judgment has been taken. Before government could decide on this area, they must have looked at, experts must have looked at alternative by now. So let's shut the airport down. So if they're going to do that, then Edmund's role, because we have aviation managers, we have people in the Senate, we have people in the House of Assembly, we have people in the ministry who ought way back, maybe 5 years before this time, must have given, like exploration. Airport is, the runway has expired. What have you done about it before the closure? So if they must close that airport, an alternative airport like Minna or Kaduna will be used. What security measure are they going to put? Is there a rail system? Is the road? Are they going to put security police along to secure life for that period of time? Because what we're saying is to look for alternative to make sure that airport is not closed. But in that case, if they have taken their decision to do that based on their findings that people are not doing what they're supposed to do, then in that position, Edmund's role, and then they must secure life and property and compensate those airlines for their losses for that period of time, because 6 weeks is a lot of time, a long period of time for business people, for students. There are people that fly in maybe every day into Abuja for their business. How are they going to cope with that stress? It's too stressful just to go to Kaduna, and when you get to Kaduna, the fear of you being attacked by adopters or Boko Haram and all those issues, and the road is not even safe. So those are all the things. And the train, how effective is that train from Kaduna to Abuja? Those are all the questions that we must ask government to put in place at this point in time if they've taken their decision based on their findings, because we understand the airport has expired, and at that time the ICAO will not comply. They will not give certificate for that airport. So from my own view, they should look at secure lives and property if they must do that.
All right, thank you. I know somebody has just sent in a tweet. Ike Chukukari says the issue of a second runway for the Abuja airport cannot be overemphasized. The rehabilitation works must not wait for this to happen. We'll take a quick break. We'll bring Pan-African World, and this is for our guest in Lagos, and then come back to the conversation. Do stay with us.
This is Pan-African World. Gambian President Yahya Jammeh has said he will not step down before a Supreme Court decision on disputed elections. A ruling now not expected until May. In a nationwide TV broadcast, the last longing ruler also reiterated his concern at foreign interference. Regional mediators led by Nigeria's president are expected in the Gambia on Friday to urge him to accept defeat following December's election. President-elect Adama Barrow says he will be inaugurated next week. Jammeh, who initially accepted defeat in the 1 December poll, lodged a case before the Supreme Court after the Electoral Commission changed some results. But the Commission insists the outcome was not affected by an initial error and property developer Barrow narrowly won. During his cabinet reshuffle on January 10, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau tapped a former Somali refugee Ahmed Hussein to lead the country's Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Ministry. The lawyer and community activist Ahmed Hussein came to Canada in 1993 at the age of 16 after fleeing his hometown, the Somali capital of Mogadishu. Hussein, a rookie member of parliament for York South Western District in Ontario, was also the first Somali Canadian to be voted to Parliament in 2015. Since his election, Hussein has become a household name among Somalis in the diaspora. His election has been touted as a symbol of the Canadian Liberal Party's openness to immigrant communities. And Borno State Governor Kashim Shettima has said most aid groups operating in Nigeria's northeast are wasting funds meant to help victims of the Islamist Boko Haram insurgency. The governor said only 8 of 126 registered agencies in Borno State were there to genuinely help. He criticized the UN Children's Agency, UNICEF, for buying bulletproof cars, saying he did not use such vehicles. Last month, the United Nations launched a $1 billion appeal for those facing hunger and starvation in the region. The UN said that nearly 5.1 million people in 3 northeastern states were expected to face serious food shortages, as for a third year in a row farmers had been unable to plant, fearing improvised explosive devices left behind by militants. He urged aid was needed for some 100,000 people, mostly children, at risk of dying of starvation. Well, that's Pan-African World. We continue with our conversation, and the focus is on closure of the Abuja airport, the controversy, and the options. Just stay with us.
The new spirit of Africa. This is Kakaaki, the African voice.
Well, thank you for staying with us. That was Pan-African World, and we were talking to Captain just before that break, and I read out a tweet from one of our fans who wrote in and said it's not just about speculation, that the alternative runway should have been in view before now and before the refurbishment. But let me go back to Taiwo. Taiwo, I do not know what you think about the, phased out renovations for the runway. Do you think that that is the best way to go, or do you consider, because a lot of people are complaining that the distance between Kaduna and Abuja is quite long and would prefer rather a Niger State Abuja route, and that to do that, the potholes in the road has got to be amended and fixed. However, there's such a little time to do that. So could you still think that consideration for phased out repairs while the airport is still running would be the key way to go?
Thank you very much. I still maintain that aviation remains the most regulated industry or sector. So be that as it may, what you call phased out, I see that option B, which is very crucial. The most important thing, where we're going, the airport must not be shut down. It's not good for the economy, it's not good for business, it's not good for government, it's not good for governance. So what are we looking at there? If you look at Mina has never been listed as an alternate to Abuja. A part of the regulations set by NCAA, the alternate to Abuja is Kaduna, because Kaduna is international airport, while Mina is not. So you look at it that way. The airmen, the operators, the airlines, the NAMA, everybody knows that the book says the alternate to Abuja is Kaduna. When you are falling out of Lagos and your destination is Abuja, they expect you to take enough fuel that can land you at your alternate. So we can now not make Mina alternate. We will just be going against what the books are saying. So we want to look at that option. What can we do to rehabilitate that particular runway to go according to what the books are saying? We look at passenger comfort, we look at operational comfort. I can't imagine British Airways landing in Kaduna. They don't have the facilities to handle them. There are no fingers there. They just don't have that facilities. I can't imagine a flight coming from Uyo by Dana landing in Kaduna, another one coming from Lagos by Dana landing in Kaduna. There's going to be a lot of chaos. What is the capacity of Kaduna Airport, for God's sake? Not to talk of Mina, which is even smaller. So what we are looking at is, we look at an option. It's not secular, it's an option. The option is, can we do this wrong way? Like rightly said, maybe 50 hours on the weekend, maybe 10 hours every day from 12 midnight to 7 a.m., something like that. There must be an alternative to shutting down the airport. It's very crucial. It's very crucial for this economy to move forward. We cannot afford to do that. And look at Ghana. They did it in phases and they got away with it. So we're not the only one. We're just ridiculing ourselves on the international aviation sector. That, the major flagship is being shut down for repair. It's something. It's uncalled. Since 1986, we'll be flying into Abuja now. And this is 2017. You're shutting it down. It's really, really embarrassing. So.
It does also seem, Taiwo, just still staying with you before we get to Captain, it does also seem with the refurbishment and the renovations going on in Kaduna, Sali, it seems that the federal government seems set in its ways and mind made up already on what angle to take, because we already know some monies, I think over 1 billion naira has already been set in motion to refurbish the Kaduna airport and bring it up to speed and par with what is of the, quote-unquote, international standard. Do you think that the federal government at all has a willingness to have an open conversation about this and look at the benefit of not closing the Abuja airport in totality, especially on economic grounds? Do you think their mind is not made up already and that this conversation we're having is futile?
They have made up their mind already. They know where they're going and they know where they're coming from. No matter what, let the Senate do so many sessions. Nobody's going to listen to them. The Honorable Minister has got the approval of the National Executive Council for about $1 billion to do that in Kaduna. So nobody's going to stop that money. I'm sure he's busy trying to get the money out of the Ministry of Finance so that they can mobilize and do what they want to do. In this kind of situation, due process will not even be followed. So you are right. This conversation should have come in maybe 6 months ago, so that you give them an edge. But they kept it away from us, and they just bump into us in the new year and say, fine, we are shutting it down. They don't, the multiplier effect, they are not considering it at all. The economic effect, they are not considering it at all. All that surrounds it, they are not even looking at that at all. Yeah, we are going to do it, there's nothing you can do. That's the Nigerian attitude. That's the Nigerian concept, which to us is very, 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 very wrong. It's going to scare away direct foreign investors. That what kind of country is there? So you are right, and I agree with you. I'm in line with you that all these things we are doing is just after a decision has been taken. It will take a National Executive Council to revert it. No matter the amount of noise the National Assembly is making, they are legislating. The executive are the one that will execute the decision, and that's what's going to happen, which is really very unfortunate. That very short Abuja is really, really, really unfortunate. I don't know where we're going in this country.
Okay, just before we go to Captain Banahon, let me just stay with you. You raised concerns about the safety, the safety of air travel to Kaduna Airport, and of course, even Mina, for instance. But the Minister of State Aviation, Hadi Sirika, did do an inspection of the airports, the Kaduna State Airport, and he said that 3,000 meters Kaduna Airport runway is capable of handling jumbo jets and B-77s, and so it's capable of handling the traffic from Abuja Airport. And of course, he also said that facilities at the airport are in good conditions. As he said that he inspected the facilities at the Nigerian College of Aviation Technology in Katsina, and of course the Nigerian Meteorological Agency's NAMET weather facility at Katsina. He said the facilities are in good condition and that the runway is capable of handling the traffic that will be transferred from the Abuja airport. What exactly are your fears? Because the minister also did meet with foreign missions, and they expressed their fears, and the topmost of their fears was security, and the security they emphasized was the roadblock along Kaduna Abuja road, and of course individual travel security should they not want to use the shuttle bus provided by the federal government. So what exactly are your fears?
My fears is passengers' comfort. Passengers' comfort. Passengers' comfort. And secondly, as an economist, I'm looking at the cost of closing it down. As an airline, for example, I told you, I paid you 30,000 to fly me from Lagos into Abuja. You took me to Kaduna. Time is money. I have to spend 3 hours between Kaduna. If you know where Kaduna Airport is and the distance between town, then to now face Abuja again, I'm spending about 3 hours. So my total journey is about 4 or 5 hours. I've lost time. By the time I get to Abuja, the day is finished. I'll be forced to stay in the hotel. To come back again, I have to come through that route, go to the airport, check in, my luggage is packed, then move me to Kaduna, then catch my flight out of Kaduna. It has disrupted everything. And security-wise, what are we looking at? If there's a breakdown in the bus on the way, what happens? If there's an attack, we have flights scheduled for 6 p.m. out of Lagos. When it gets to Abuja and to Kaduna, 6:30, 6:40, then I will face Abuja that time. No security, I won't risk my life. I'll better adjust my life that within the 6 weeks, Abuja no-go area. So we are looking at personal security of the passengers. Then we also look at the national security. What happens to Mr. President? Is he going to use an helicopter from Aso Rock to Kaduna to join his flight, or he's going to use the private airline, the private jet runway? These are the things we are looking at. What about evacuation, medical evacuation? What about movement of cash? No, so many things. So you see that the multinational are already adjusting their program. That this is not done anywhere, it's not okay with us, and we're not going to be part of it. Instead, let us take our staff off this risk, and they just keep them either busy in Abuja or take them back to their headquarters. So security of passengers is, nobody can force the kidnappers. That is their headquarters, Abuja Kaduna Road. And the armed robbers, they're also there.
Okay.
So I don't want to risk my family to put them on that kind of route. I won't. I would rather have them stay in Lagos rather than risk their life on those things. No matter if the IG follows every bus, there will still be a security risk, which he cannot do. So these are the things we are really looking at. They told us that there will be helicopter services, which is additional cost. And they said so many things about the train. The train is monorail. It's not two ways. So what are we looking at here? We must take care of our passengers. We are in the 21st century. The whole world is looking at us. This is an emerging economy. We cannot afford to do all that. No visiting head of state can fly direct to Abuja. No big investors can fly direct unless they use their private jet, which I hope the runway will be open to them. These are the things we are looking at. These are the things we are looking at. The benefits and the multiplier effect on security, on business itself, on timing. Time is money. It's not there at all. So that's my fears on security of my passengers, security of my government. It's very crucial to me. And even on the military itself. The military use the Abuja airport.
Okay, let's look at there's a tweet coming in here from Ikechukwu again. He's an engineer and he's saying, if the work safety plan has been prepared, it should be made a public document that can be constructively criticized, and that is if it has been prepared. Now, Captain Boraho, this question is for you. When you're talking about, international traffic, airport handling of international traffic as well, we want to, or Nigerians are also asking, does the Kaduna airport have the capacity to handle traffic, international traffic in its airport? And the work safety plan, how constructively reviewed has it been, and is it public document?
Since the other time when you were talking about Niger, you were talking about Zaria, and you were talking about Kaduna. We all went to school and we have category of airport. The airport in grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. What it means is there's some airport because of commercial weight, they cannot take aircraft because of the weight of those aircraft. There's some airport because of the standard facility as in light, equipment, fuel, and other logistics in terms of fire and all those things. They cannot take certain commercial flight, maybe private. When you mention Zaria doesn't have a landing light. Too bad if I'm going into Kaduna, Abuja, and something happened, I have to use Zaria at 6 p.m. in the night when there's no light. You're going to land in the whole of Zaria City. So the category of airport, they have all standard, and there should be a wake-up call from this onset, and there should be a rethink, because it is not at this point in time that we are closing Abuja Airport, then we are now going to go and rehabilitate Kaduna Airport. This should be an ongoing thing. When we're in school, ongoing thing, even the place we were trained, when it comes to ordinary painting, they must paint. When it comes to fixing the airport, they will do it at night. All this will be done systematically, gradually, that it does not get to that level of dilapidation completely. So that means, that's why I said, Edmund's role in this question must be asked, who caused this? Where did this thing start from? How did it get to that level? Because Kaduna Airport used to be an international standard, but at a stage when the minister, from what I heard, the minister has gone to investigate and see what they can do to put Kaduna Airport to that standard. But for me, the foreign airline should be restricted. I'm talking about all this Virgin and all this international flight. They must be restricted to Kano, because Kano, Lagos, and Abuja are the international airport that can take the foreign airline. So this will give businesses to domestic airline. If anybody is coming from Europe and they go to Kano, then from Kano they can move. They can now fly into Kano or Lagos to bring this passenger into Abuja or Kaduna. But when you're talking about category and standard, those airports have different ratings and they have different categories. There's some airport that some aircraft should not land. Otherwise, that airport will be damaged, because they have strength, they have weight, and also they have the facilities for emergency and lights. So those are the different categories that we have the experts in those fields within the ministry, within the aviations. They are experts in those fields who ought to be doing this thing. But interference most times, like I always say, there's always interference from government. Do it this way, do it our own way. And it bothers me at this point in time. We're just talking about Mina, and it is now you're not talking about let's go and fix Mina Road. And you don't have a minister of works? Don't you have people in the Federal Capital Territory who ought to have been doing that, doing their road? Not until now that you now want to go and put people want to fly into Mina or Kaduna. You're not looking at the roads. They ought to have been done on a daily basis, just like the airport.
Well, Captain, it does appear that you're not satisfied with the position of the federal government, and that has constantly given assurance to Nigerians that it is safe to fly over over Kaduna Airport and, of course, land in the airport, as there are facilities to that effect, and that the facilities were provided by INCAT, which is located in Zaria, and, of course, the weather facilities provided by NIMET. What sense do you get? I mean, because you have assume the position, they are not satisfied with that position of government. Does it give you a sense that perhaps the federal government hasn't done enough to put in the public domain the work safety plan of this policy of closing the ABUJA airport?
Talking about putting the safety on that thing, we know the terrain. We're talking about that terrain. The fear is that terrain in that Kaduna, Zaria, Abuja road. You know, the terrain is volatile. We all know what is happening. That is where, like my colleague is saying, I will not put my children or even travel at that period, because I'm paying for a route. I said, take me to Abuja, and you are taking me to Kaduna. And from the Kaduna, whether I have to wait for how many hours for the bus and for the train, that will take a lot of my time. If I have a meeting for 10 o'clock and I want to leave Lagos at 8 o'clock, I should be in Abuja for 9. And then to get my taxi or my car to take me into the business office. But if I'm going elsewhere and I'm not, I have to spend another 2 or 3 hours before I go to, that is not safe for me. So the terrain is the plan that government is putting is, I'm sure they've made up their mind, but they should do a rethink. Let's do a rethink if alternative things can be done to maintain, to do that Abuja airport. I mean, they can call stakeholders. We have experts in the aviation field. We have experts in construction, PW, and all those builders of international airport are there who could assist. We are a laughing stock around the world. Like people say, what is wrong with the black man? What is wrong with Nigeria? Everybody's saying, so let us come together and see what we can do. Instead of just this money, because it's selfish interest. At the end of the day, when it comes to the table, some people just want to put something into their pocket. And for their own selfish interest, they want to jeopardize safety and the economic value of the country. So to me, there should be a routine, call the stakeholders together and find out the possible solution. And when you're talking about safety in those areas, you must look at stringent safety. If they have made up their mind, they must find a way to get safety, property and life to the appropriate location from those destinations to the other destination and secure their life. That's the most important thing. Because how many arms, police, army, or the survey aircraft or helicopter do you want to put in line? And when you look at Abuja, a lot of our honorables, ministers, the president, most of them don't live in Abuja. They travel over the weekend. Their family are in their towns, on their cities, and they go forth and back every day, every weekend. So how are they going to cope? How are they going to cope on their job at home and all that?
Captain.
So it's a lot of stress on them. It's a lot of stress on the nation.
Thank you, Captain. All right, thank you, Captain Bola Lushola. We'll be speaking to our guests in Lagos. There's a quote by William Yates. It said, development is about long preparedness for something that never happens. And that means you are ready and willing to take measures just before something happens to avoid it being an emergency. We've been talking to aviation analyst Taro Adeniko and aviation analyst as well, Captain Bola Lushola, who joined us from Lagos. The work safety plan, is it public knowledge? Is it available? Has it been developed? And has it also been looked and reviewed by the Ministry of Aviation? That is the conversation a lot of people on Twitter are also bringing to bear. They're saying if there is no work safety plan constructively exposed to the media, then the Kaduna Airport refurbishment is just another waste of Nigerian taxpayers' money. The work safety plan is what guarantees safety on the runway as against just refurbishing the runway. We will be taking a quick break, and when we come back, the show continues in a moment. Just stay with us.
Of Africa. This is Kakaaki, the African voice.
The structure of the runway, the problem is that the structure is completely gone. We have shut down.
An announcement that has generated heated debates across the country. Right here in this hall, engineers are gathered for a briefing. They air their views on the government's proposed plan.
There are standard ways for doing that type of work without shutting down the facility. And it is in the long run going to be cheaper for all concerned. It's safer, and we are demanding that the government acts professionally.
All we are saying is that the reform process that will liberate the transportation sector to operate the way it should maximally and in accordance with global best practices is not happening in Nigeria.
The engineers also speak on the construction of the second runway, while stating clearly that the decision to use the Kaduna Airport is not an option.
Categorically, Kaduna is not yet in the capacity as of today to take that kind of volume of traffic and movement. And I'm sure too that the ministry is aware of this.
In fact, in a meeting we held, we were all agreed that the second runway should start today.
A petition and recommendations by the Nigerian engineers on the ABUJA airport closure and other issues affecting indigenous practice is to be forwarded to President Muhammadu Buhari for further review.
These are angry passengers of Turkish Airlines. Some of them have spent 3 days, while others have been here for over 10 hours. They are all waiting for rescheduled Turkish air flights to their respective destinations.
I want to go to Netherlands. I'm flying to Amsterdam, but I couldn't because of all of the mess that has happened here.
Supposed to fly at 12:35. And I was told the flight was cancelled, good and fine, for bad weather reasons.